Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you about compound shapes. Why they're called compound is because they are made up of different shapes added together. And that's the same as in chemistry. You have a compound, it's when different chemicals are combined. Okay, so the first thing to do before you do anything else is work out all of the side lengths that you haven't got labelled. It sounds really silly and maybe it sounds like extra work, but it would just stop you making mistakes. So many people do it. It's better to just stop and think calmly about the length and work out any that are missing so that you don't accidentally select the wrong length when you're multiplying things together. So I know that because these two lines are parallel and these two lines are parallel, essentially I kind of have a rectangle here. Oh gosh, that's a really wobbly line. Okay. So I know that if this is 4 centimetres here and this is 2 centimetres here, then this length here must be both of those joined together. So I get 6 centimetres here. And in the same system, I know that these two lengths have to be identical. So if this is worth 5, then this must also be worth 5, because essentially all I've done is I've taken 5 and pushed it back. Now I've got this, it's much easier to work out the shapes, and you can do it in 2 different ways, and I'm going to do those both now. You can either create a larger rectangle and then take away your extra bit. Sorry, I'm not used to this yet. Or you can take your rectangle and cut it into 2 smaller pieces and add both of those. So if I'm working with the larger rectangle, I know that this full length is 6 centimetres and this full length is worth, a bit more extra space, is worth 10 centimetres. So I'm going to times these two together, and that gives me 60 centimetres squared in total. Now I'm going to get a different colour to make it more obvious, and I've got 5 centimetres here and 2 centimetres here. So I'm going to times these two together, so this side times this side, and that gives me 10 centimetres squared. So now I need to do my full rectangle, which I worked out in purple, minus my smaller rectangle that I didn't need, and that gives me 50 centimetres squared. Now let's do it with this method. What I'm going to do is I've decided the best thing to do before you do anything is actually draw a dotted line to remind yourself how you're splitting up your shape. So if I want this shape, I need to work out this length times this length because they're perpendicular to each other. So I have 4 centimetres times 10 centimetres, so that's worth 40 centimetres squared. And then this one, I'm going to do this length times this length because those two are perpendicular to each other, and that's going to give me 2 times 5, so that gives me 10 centimetres. Now I just need to add them up, so I have 40 plus 10, which equals 50 centimetres squared. Now a nice idea might be in your exam, if you finish early or you have more time at the end and you think, oh, I need to make sure that the marks I've got are definitely right, it might be an idea to work out, if you do get a compound question, work them both out in 2 different ways, because if you get the same answer both times, you know you've definitely got full marks.